Hi, I'm Mark Lawson, president of ECS Publishing Group, and I am pleased to introduce composer Juliana Hall, along with Eric Einhorn, who is the co-founding general and artistic director of On-Site Opera in New York City. And we are here to talk about a new recording release of A World Turned Upside Down. This composition by Juliana was performed and recorded last year by On-Site Opera, and is now being released on all of the digital streaming services. The performers on the recording are Cristina María Castro, soprano, and Howard Watkins on piano. So welcome, Juliana and Eric.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
So Juliana, give us a little background of the piece. Like when did you write it and what inspired you to take this on?
It was written in 2016. And it kind of had a little bit of time with me in my room without going anywhere. It wasn't a piece written for a singer in particular. It was because I loved Anne. I loved her spirit, her personality, and her sense of courage and hope and goodness. And I thought her story really needs to be told.
And we might clarify that that's the Anne Frank story.
Right. Then about several months later, a singer started asking for songs about Holocaust. I said, "Oh, Anne Frank, I'm right here. We're ready." So I sent them to her, and she did the premiere in 2017 in Texas. It's been done many, many times after that, and I'm so thankful. Anne Frank and her words are incredible, and it's a remarkable story of her life and what she went through at such a young age.
Yeah. So Eric, when did you discover the work, and tell me the story about deciding to produce this?
Sure. It was a little chicken or the egg, honestly. When the pandemic hit at On-Site Opera, we were trying to figure out how to pivot just like everybody else. And being a site-specific opera company, it became a little more challenging to figure out how to be site-specific when we couldn't gather at a site. So we started to think about ways that the audience's own location could be the site. Just before this project, we had done something over the phone, and we were looking to do something by mail. I had been really inspired by these subscription boxes that had sort of popped up through the pandemic, these at-home activities sorts of things. And so together with our music director, Jeff McDonald, we sort of settled on this idea of the diary and the letter as something that could translate really well to a site-specific experience by mail. The diary has been something that composers have set many, many times from various voices throughout history, and just doing a deep dive into what material was out there. There were some obvious choices that we looped into the production, and then I was just thrilled when I came to learn about Juliana's cycle, because it was unexpected. I hadn't really been acquainted with Juliana's work before that. And so it was a double discovery in discovering this incredible cycle based on Anne Frank's diary, but also this prolific art song composer in Juliana. So it was really wonderful.
That's great. Well, you certainly received a lot of wonderful media attention. So what kind of impact did that whole experience have on you and on the company?
It was really fantastic that because we did this by mail, and every audience member received this package, essentially, which we worked with an incredible graphic designer named Stephanie Ryer, who designed a replica of the Diary of Anne Frank. And the audiences received that. It appeared to be in Anne's own handwriting, the song texts, and there was supporting materials and some extra little ephemera that you received by mail. We sent these boxes to, I think, 40 or so US states and 7 countries. So the impact was quite significant. And we got a fair amount of feedback that people had specifically subscribed to this project because of the Anne Frank inclusion in the storytelling. So that, for me, as someone who is a Jewish artist, was especially impactful.
Yeah. Well, Juliana, what kind of feedback have you received about the work? Because it is such a meaningful piece, and it's obviously so important to so many different people. What kind of feedback do you get about it?
The same kind of idea that the singers have told me that it's very moving and very meaningful for them to be able to portray Anne Frank, to be able to get into her world and tell her story. And singers have told me that the audiences have really been really strongly and deeply moved by the settings and the story. I'm thankful that Anne has written this diary and given us a sense of what really has happened and what people have gone through.
Well, why don't we talk about the performers for a moment? Eric, just talk about them for a moment. They do such a wonderful job on this.
Sure. We were really quite lucky in the whole cast for these song cycles that we recorded. And Cristina María Castro, an amazing young soprano who I had become acquainted with through a production I did at the Chautauqua Opera Company a few years ago. And she was somebody who was on my radar, and it just sort of seemed to click together. And her performance of it, the energy and the storytelling that she brought to this as essentially a radio play. Usually a song cycle performed in a recital setting, there are certain ways that a performer will perform those. There are the unspoken rules of the recital hall, if you will. But because we took that out of the recital hall, we didn't quite put it in the opera house, we put it in the virtual opera house. It opened up opportunity for perhaps other interpretive things that might not have come up in a more traditional recital setting. My favorite, it's a small thing, but the fact that on the recording, you'll hear Cristina Maria laugh in the opening song in Birthday. And it's just such a magical moment that, because she's in our ears in a way that she couldn't be otherwise. You hear things like that. How she played with breath in the storytelling was really fascinating. And then the collaboration of Howard Watkins, our pianist, who is one of the greatest collaborative pianists in the business. It was just a dream team for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And Julie, I think you commented as well on the singers and on her performance as well.
Yes, I was thinking that this cycle is a little bit different than the other song cycles that I've written because of the theatrical element of it. It's got all the whispering and the energy and clashing of the piano. And, they're creating the sound world of Anne's time in the annex. I was thinking Cristina and Howard and Eric directing too. All three of them just made it come alive in such an intense and moving, and you could feel the pull of the emotion from that innocent time to the very end when everything just ends like this. She couldn't go further.
Well, I am so glad that we're able to make this available for people to listen to. One of the advantages of the streaming services is that it's so accessible. So I encourage everyone to go and take a listen and enjoy this performance. And I really thank Juliana for writing this piece, and for Eric and for Onsite Opera for all you've done. So we wish you both the very, very best in the days ahead. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for everything. And Eric, you're two very special people, and I'm very, very thankful.
Thank you for your music.
All right. Well, have a great day.
Thanks.
You too.
You too.